You know what's hilarious? For decades, real estate investors were told that college towns were safe bets, stable demand, guaranteed tenants every fall. Universities are recession-proof, they said. Students will always need housing, they said. Turns out that was a lie. Right now, across America, college towns are experiencing something nobody saw coming. Enrollment is collapsing. Not declining gently, collapsing. And all those apartment complexes built specifically for students, empty. All those landlords who bought houses near campus assuming 22-year-olds would always pay rent, panicking. And all those local businesses that depended on students closing. We're watching the college town economic model break in real time. And it's breaking because of forces that have been building for years. Fewer 18-year-olds. Rising tuition making college a questionable investment. Remote learning proving you don't actually need to live on or near campus. An oversupply of student housing from a decade-long building boom. So today we're going through 10 college towns where the rental market is actively collapsing because the students aren't coming back, or they're coming back in much smaller numbers. And landlords, businesses, and entire town economies are realizing they bet everything on a demographic that's disappearing. This is the college enrollment crisis nobody wants to talk about, but it's happening, and it's going to reshape how we think about higher education and the towns that depend on it. Let's get into it. Here's what's happening and why college towns are in trouble. First, demographics. The birth rate dropped significantly during the 2008 financial crisis. Those kids would be starting college right now, except there are fewer of them. This is called the demographic cliff, and it's hitting colleges hard. Fewer potential students means more competition for enrollment. Second, college got really expensive and the ROI became questionable. A lot of people are looking at student debt and wondering if it's worth it. Trade schools, coding boot camps, going straight into the workforce. All these options are looking better compared to $100,000 in debt and a degree that might not land you a good job. Third, COVID normalized remote learning. Colleges had to prove they could teach online, and students realized they could live at home, take classes remotely, and save $30,000 a year in housing and expenses. Some universities never recovered from that shift. Fourth, oversupply. From roughly 2010 to 2020, there was a massive student housing building boom. Developers assumed enrollment would keep growing forever. They built luxury student apartments with amenities that would make your parents cry. Pool tables, fitness centers, study lounges, rents of $1,200 a month per bedroom. Those apartments are sitting empty now because enrollment is down and students can't afford luxury prices. The result is a crisis in college towns, especially small towns that are almost entirely dependent on the university. When enrollment drops 15 or 20%, the entire town economy contracts. Restaurants close, bars close. Those luxury apartments sit vacant. Landlords drop rents trying to fill units. And the town starts to look like a ghost town outside of the academic year. The towns on this list are experiencing this in real time. Some will adapt, some won't. But all of them are learning that betting your entire economy on college students is risky when college enrollment is declining nationally. So let's go through 10 college towns where rent is collapsing because the students left and aren't coming back. Number 10, Burlington, Vermont. Starting with a town everyone thinks is charming and immune to problems because it's Burlington. The University of Vermont has seen enrollment drop by about 10% over the last few years. That doesn't sound catastrophic until you realize Burlington's entire economy revolves around UVM and the students. Rent in student-heavy areas has dropped 15 to 20% from peak. Apartments that were charging $1,400 a month for a bedroom are now asking $1,100 and still sitting empty. Vacancy rates in student housing are approaching 15 to 20%. Burlington is expensive for Vermont, and students are realizing they can attend UVM remotely or transfer to cheaper schools. The ones who do stay are increasingly living at home or finding roommates to split costs. Nobody's paying luxury student apartment prices anymore. The local economy is feeling it. Church Street, the pedestrian downtown area, has seen business closures. Bars that depended on student drinking are struggling, and landlords who mortgage properties assuming stable UVM enrollment are underwater. Burlington is beautiful. It's progressive. It's got good food and outdoor access. But it's also expensive and cold. And the university that props up its economy is shrinking. Burlington thought Bernie Sanders' energy would protect it forever. It doesn't. Number 9. Amherst, Massachusetts. Amherst has the University of Massachusetts flagship campus. Big state school. 20,000 plus students historically. Enrollment is down about 8 to 10%, and the impact on the local rental market is significant. Student-focused apartments in Amherst and the surrounding towns are seeing vacancy rates of 15% plus. Rents have dropped 10 to 15% from peak, and landlords are offering concessions like a month free or waived fees, just to get students to sign leases. The problem is Amherst got expensive. It's in a desirable part of Massachusetts, close to Boston but not too close. The college town vibe, but students are looking at the rent, looking at tuition, and doing the math. Living off campus in Amherst is pricey. Living at home or going to a community college first is cheaper. UMass is also facing budget pressures and enrollment targets they're not hitting, which means less student spending in the local economy, which means businesses close, which makes the town less attractive to students. It's a feedback loop. Amherst will probably be fine long-term because it's got multiple colleges in the area and Western Mass is nice. But right now the rental market is correcting hard because the student population isn't what it used to be. Amherst is learning that being a nice college town doesn't mean students can afford to live there. Number 8. Ithaca, New York. Ithaca is Cornell. That's basically the entire town. And Cornell's enrollment has been relatively stable compared to other schools. But the local rental market is still struggling. Here's the thing about Ithaca. It's remote. It's in the middle of nowhere upstate New York. It's cold. And it's expensive. Students are increasingly questioning whether living in Ithaca for 4 years is worth the cost, when they could attend a similar school elsewhere, or do part of their degree remotely. Rent in Ithaca has dropped about 10 to 12% from peak. Vacancy rates in student apartments are around 10 to 15%, and the market for expensive off-campus housing has completely stalled. Ithaca is gorgeous. Literally, the marketing tagline is Ithaca is gorgeous. But pretty waterfalls don't pay rent, and students are making cost-benefit calculations that increasingly favor living somewhere cheaper. The local economy is heavily dependent on Cornell students and staff. When enrollment is flat or slightly down, every business feels it. Restaurants, bars, shops, services. It all contracts. Ithaca will survive because Cornell isn't going anywhere. But the days of landlords charging premium rates to students who have no choice are over. Supply exceeds demand now. Ithaca is gorgeous and expensive, and students are increasingly choosing cheaper options. Number 7. Athens, Ohio. Athens is Ohio University. At its peak, OU had around 20,000 undergrads. Now it's closer to 16,000. That's a 20% decline. That's catastrophic for a town that exists almost entirely because of the university. Rent in Athens has collapsed. Student apartments that were charging $800 a month are now asking $550 and still sitting empty. Vacancy rates are estimated at 20 to 25% in student-focused housing. The town is dying. Businesses are closing. Uptown Athens, the main student area, has empty storefronts. Bars that were packed every weekend are struggling. Landlords are selling at losses or just holding on hoping enrollment recovers. The problem is OU is a mid-tier state school in rural Ohio. It doesn't have the prestige to command high enrollment when students have options. And students have options now. Online degrees, closer schools, cheaper schools, schools with better job placement. Athens was a party school. That was its identity. But party schools only work when students show up. And they're not showing up like they used to. Athens is a cautionary tale about what happens when a town's entire economy is based on one institution and that institution shrinks significantly. Athens is what happens when the party ends and nobody cleans up. Number 6. Bloomington, Indiana. Indiana University Bloomington is a big state school with around 40,000 students. But enrollment has been soft and student housing vacancy is way up. Bloomington saw a massive student housing construction boom in the 2010s. Luxury apartments everywhere. Now those apartments are 15 to 20% vacant. Rents have dropped 10 to 15% from peak, and landlords are panicking. The issue is oversupply. Too many apartments chasing too few students. And the students who are there are cost-conscious. Nobody wants to pay $1,200 a month for a bedroom with a gym they'll never use. Bloomington is also in the middle of Indiana, which is fine if you're committed to U. But students are increasingly asking if they need to be in Bloomington for 4 years, or if they can do part of their degree elsewhere. The local economy is feeling the pressure. University area businesses that depend on student foot traffic are closing or reducing hours. The town is less lively than it was 5 years ago. Bloomington is a nice college town. Big Ten sports. Good music scene. But nice doesn't fill empty apartments when students aren't coming. Bloomington built for growth that didn't happen, and now it's paying the price. Number 5. State College, Pennsylvania. State College is Penn State, and Penn State is huge. But even huge universities aren't immune to enrollment softness. Penn State's enrollment is relatively stable, but off-campus housing is struggling. Vacancy rates are 12 to 15%. Rents have dropped 10% from peak, and the market for expensive off-campus housing is dead. State College has the same problem as Ithaca. It's remote, it's cold, it's expensive relative to alternatives. Students are doing the math and realizing they don't need to pay premium rent to live in State College for 4 years. The town is also heavily dependent on football weekends for business. When that goes well, the town thrives. When enrollment is soft and students are cost-conscious, businesses struggle the rest of the year. State College will be fine because Penn State isn't going anywhere. But the rental market is correcting. Supply exceeded demand and students have more options now than they used to. State College is learning that being home to a Big Ten school doesn't mean rent goes up forever. Number 4. Gainesville, Florida. University of Florida is a good school. Big, well regarded, but Gainesville has serious rental market issues because of oversupply and changing student preferences. Gainesville had a massive student housing boom, luxury apartments sprouting everywhere near campus. Now vacancy rates are 15 to 20%. Rents are down 10 to 15% from peak. Landlords are offering months of free rent. The problem is students don't want luxury amenities at luxury prices. They want cheap, and Gainesville got expensive and hot. And students are realizing they can attend UF remotely for some classes or live at home, or find cheaper options. The local economy is feeling it. Midtown Gainesville has empty storefronts. Businesses that thrived on student spending are closing. The town is less vibrant. Gainesville is a college town in Central Florida. That's its identity. But when the college students don't show up in the numbers you expected and they don't spend like they used to, the town struggles. Gainesville built too much too fast, and now the market is correcting painfully. Number 3. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. University of Alabama. Roll Tide. Big sex school. But enrollment is softening and student housing is way overbuilt. Tuscaloosa saw insane student housing development in the 2010s. Developers assumed Alabama football would drive enrollment growth forever. They were wrong. Vacancy rates in student apartments are approaching 20%. Rents have dropped 15 to 20% from peak. Buildings that opened in the last 5 years are struggling to reach 50% occupancy. Students are either living on campus, at home, or finding much cheaper options. Nobody wants to pay $1,000 a month for a bedroom in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The local economy is dependent on students and football. When student population stagnates, businesses suffer. The Strip, the main student bar and restaurant area, is less busy than it was a few years ago. Tuscaloosa is a football town, but football can't fill empty apartments, and the rental market is learning that the hard way. Tuscaloosa built for growth that assumed football wins equal enrollment growth. That's not how it works. Number 2. Carbondale, Illinois. Southern Illinois University Carbondale is a disaster. Enrollment has collapsed from over 20,000 to around 8,000. That's a 60% decline. Carbondale's rental market is dead. Student apartments sit empty. Entire buildings are vacant. Rents have crashed. Landlords are walking away. Businesses have closed en masse. The town is dying. SIU was the only thing keeping Carbondale alive. And CU is dying. The university has severe budget problems, declining reputation, and can't attract students. Carbondale is in southern Illinois. There's nothing else there. No other industry. No other reason for the town to exist. When the university collapses, the town collapses. This is the most extreme example on this list. A town that was entirely dependent on one university, and that university is in free fall. Carbondale is what happens when a college town loses its college. Number 1, Morgantown, West Virginia. At number 1, the college town with the most dramatic rental collapse, we have Morgantown. West Virginia University has seen enrollment drop from around 30,000 to around 24,000. That's a 20% decline. For a town that exists because of WVU, that's catastrophic. Student housing vacancy rates in Morgantown are estimated at 25% or higher. Rents have dropped 20 to 30% from peak. Entire apartment complexes built in the last decade are half empty. Landlords are desperate. Some are selling at huge losses. Some are just holding on hoping it gets better. Businesses on High Street, the main student area, are closing. The town feels empty outside of football season. The problem is WVU's budget crises, declining state funding, and is in West Virginia. It's not attracting out-of-state students like it used to, and in-state student numbers are down because West Virginia has a declining population. Morgantown has nothing else. It's a college town in the mountains. When the college shrinks significantly, the entire town economy craters. Morgantown is the poster child for what happens when a college town's foundation collapses. So what does all this actually mean? First, college enrollment is declining nationally, and it's going to keep declining. The demographic cliff is real. Fewer 18-year-olds means fewer college students. This is a structural shift that's not reversing anytime soon. Second, college towns that are entirely dependent on one university are extremely vulnerable. If enrollment drops 15 or 20%, the entire local economy contracts. Businesses close. Rental markets crash. Property values fall. Third, the student housing boom of the 2010s created massive oversupply. Developers assumed enrollment growth would continue forever. It didn't. Now there are way too many apartments chasing too few students. Fourth, students are more cost-conscious than ever. They're questioning the ROI of college. They're looking for cheaper options. They're not paying premium rents for luxury amenities they don't need. And fifth, this creates opportunities for some people. If you're a student or young person looking for cheap rent, college towns with oversupply are great. If you're a landlord or business owner in a college town, this is a nightmare. So there you have it. 10 college towns where rent is collapsing because enrollment crashed and students aren't coming back. In the numbers, everyone assumed they would. This is a structural shift. College enrollment is declining. Student housing was overbuilt, and students are making rational economic decisions to avoid debt and expensive college towns. For towns like Carbondale and Morgantown, they are almost entirely dependent on their universities. This is existential. They don't have backup economies. When the college shrinks, the town dies. For towns like Burlington and Ithaca that have other things going for them, this is painful but survivable. They'll adapt, but the days of charging premium rents to captive student populations are over. And for students, this is actually kind of great. Cheaper rent, more negotiating power, landlords desperate to fill units. If you're starting college in the next few years, you have way more leverage than students did 5 years ago. But here's the question I'll leave you with. Is this correction temporary? Or is this the new normal? Are we witnessing a permanent contraction in higher education and the college town model? Or will enrollment bounce back? Once demographics improve? I honestly don't know. But I know that college towns bet everything on stable or growing enrollment. And that bet is failing right now for a lot of them. Drop a comment if you live in a college town. Are you seeing this? Is rent actually dropping? Are businesses closing? Or am I overblowing this? And if you found this interesting, maybe subscribe. We do housing markets, economic trends, and the absurdities of modern American life. Someone has. To document the chaos, might as well be me.